Hello everybody, it's the end of February 2022 and I'm going to be looking at potting on this Trident maple project, which has been underway for a little while now. Let's give you a quick 360. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but the buds are beginning to swell quite nicely now, so it's time to do something with this tree. If you check the playlist, you'll see that I actually tried to air layer this tree. I bought it as quite a tall tree and tried to take a couple of air layers. Well, was it successful? I've never ever had any luck with air layers before. All I got was some callousing in the end, and this one has failed completely. I had thought it was going to root, but I treated it like a hardwood cutting. It's still got callus at the bottom. I'm going to stick it back in this pot in the vain hope that it may shoot from the base. But actually, when I do the thumbnail test on the side of the tree, scrape back the bark, all this portion is dead as a dodo. On the other hand, this one, which also had that large callus at the back and is still a little loose in the pot, the bark is not black and there is buds shooting. So again, I'm just going to leave it in this pot. I'm going to treat it as a hardwood cutting and leave it in there for the whole of this season, and hope that once these leaves get going, they will power growth of the roots below, and then I'll have had my first air layer success. As always, fingers are crossed. So anyway, back to this one. I had some very unfortunate high roots which I cut away, and again you can check the playlist for those videos. They were cut away separately on separate occasions, and didn't seem to upset the tree. It carried on powering away, and my plan for this year was to pot it up into one of these super large seed trays, which is probably twice the size and depth of the one that it's currently in. But I've had a change of heart because of a gift I had for Christmas. I think this tree will look quite nice in this large blue bonsai pot I had for Christmas. It's obviously not as big as the seed tray, but this tree's done really well in this pot, and I think it'll look nice in this, and I just don't want to leave this lying around waiting to get smashed. I feel happier having it on the bench with a tree in it, and I just think this tree will look really nice in it. It will give it a little more depth and give it some growing oomph. So without further ado, let's get the turntable out of the way and bring in the repotting tray. I know there will be some people who will say it's far too early to put this tree in a pot like that, but I'm 57, I've only got so many years left in me, and as I said, I don't want to leave the pot hanging around. I think this tree will look nice in it. I know I'm repeating myself, and I've said it in recent videos. I'm the guy who has to look at these trees every day. You only have to look at them once in a blue moon, so you know. So I tackled the top. I can see a couple of faults that I want to deal with. Yeah, let's tackle that piece. That piece that's niggling me is I have a piece that comes up here, and I have it continues dead straight, and then I have a piece that curves off around the side, and I'd like to remove the dead straight piece. So let's see if I can get in there. Nearly. That's slightly better. Turn the cutters up the other way. That's better. That gives a much nicer transition. This is where the air layer was removed. And again, I've got a bud popping out just there, which will help heal in a scar. I'm sorry, I know you can't see very well what I'm doing. I'm just trying to refine this just a fraction without touching that bud if I can. that's better. Okay, I think I'll leave the rest of the trimming until after I'm done, because I might snap branches off anyway. Okay, so let's pull this out of the pot, and again, a nice solid root mat. The label says I got this tree in December of 2018, so, and it was a spindly little thing then. It's still not huge, but it has some reasonable taper, I feel. So I'm going to try and pull out these roots that I severed. I had hoped that they might sprout like a sort of root cutting, but no, it didn't want to cooperate with me on that either. There are still some live roots on that. I may put it to one side and look at that later, maybe pot it up. Okay, so let's try and get down to the root base. That's a little lower and a little finer than those ugly roots that were all the way up here. And I'm thinking, well, I was thinking I wouldn't take any root off, apart from roundy round roots to go into that big tray. I'm still not going to take a huge amount off to go into this bonsai pot, even though it's a degree or two smaller. But I'm just going to get these roots that have come to the edge of the pot and gone round and round. And I think that'll do it. So let's just trim away those. That'll allow me to get some fresh substrate, compost, whatever you want to call it. I use those terms kind of interchangeably, I'm afraid. Not sure about this root, it's coming up and sticking up. On the other hand, as I've said in other videos, real trees have real roots like that. So in actual fact, you know, I'm going to keep those. And if you're like me, those are the roots that you're so busy looking up at the top of the tree and you know what, that you don't notice those until you've caught your ankle in them, and end up falling over and everybody laughing at you. But that's going to, if I keep those like that, that would make that the front of the tree, as opposed to what I'd previously thought of as the front of the tree. But you know, I quite like that anyway. Not sure about this piece here, it's dead straight. I might shorten that. Like so. And that piece that's going downwards. So it didn't have much plane in this direction anyway. It's actually got better branching to the rear of the tree from this direction. So sometimes change favours. Yeah, I'm going to take that little branch off there that was going to cut across. Okay, so I think that's enough work on the roots. Don't need to do anything too drastic with them. Let's shift this out of the way and we'll get it into its new pot. It's always worth just having a double check of your pots. The sides are equally nice. Sometimes you get a flaw. This one's got a bit of a flaw in this back corner and the rim. So if I put it at the back corner, it's going to be less noticeable. So that's always worth just checking out things like that. Now, in terms of positioning, yeah, I quite like that. I think I might need to take a little more off the back. Otherwise, I'm not going to get any soil around the back easily. So let's just, it seems like quite a lot, but this is Trident maples are reputedly super tough, and this one is super vigorous, so I'm not too worried that I'm chopping any more off than that. Okay, I know some people would hate this root that kind of comes out and then returns, but I can always remove it in the future if I don't like it, but for now I rather like it. Let's get some soil in under the tree. Again, I'm calling it soil. Some people call it substrate, some people call it compost. I use all three of those terms loosely and interchangeably, depending on which word pops out of my mouth. And if you follow my videos, you'll know that sometimes my modes get wumbled, and was it modes get waddled? I think that's the saying. And maybe that's just my age, I don't know. Let's see that for fit. It's not too bad. Once I can squish this down into it a bit more. Okay, so that'll be good. It could do a bit, maybe a little higher in the center. Stay. If I want those roots to look like trip hazards, it's going to have to come up a little bit. Of course, I need to leave some room for waterage. That's not so bad. That's okay. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to add some controlled release fertilizer. Have a handful or so. A little bit more where the roots aren't. Because again, you don't want fertilizer to burn new roots, and you also want the roots to be encouraged to seek out the fertilizer. So some of that. Pop the tree back in. This branch is the lower of these two, and they're not quite a T. I'm going to leave them. So I want the tree to sit slightly to the left of the centre of the pot and a little bit back. That's it. Okay, yeah, I'm quite happy with that placement. Tree's leaning slightly forward. Perfect. So now we're just filling around. The tree is quite solid. It's flat base, no air pockets beneath it. Another bit of slow release fertilizer near the top of the pot, where as you water the fertilizer will leach down into the pot rather than straight out of the holes in the bottom. And I know I'm repeating myself. If you've watched a lot of my videos, I apologise, but somebody might have just been given or acquired a Trident maple and found this video for the first time, and never having seen any of my other videos. I always think that's quite a useful piece of information. I know I have a little bit of a reputation as a bit of a Scrooge, but yeah, you don't want your fertiliser washing straight out of the hole, the bottom of your pot. That's no good to your tree or your pocketbook. Okay, so an unconventional Nabari. But I believe a natural looking one, so that's what I'm going with. This tree a drink. I can get it up on the turntable. Okay, so give that a really good flush through and get rid of all the dust, otherwise it does tend to settle into the holes in the drainage screen if you're not careful, which can cause a blockage. So give it a few more minutes to drain. Okay, so back up on the turntable. Going to take off a little bit to balance the roots that have been chopped away, and eliminate some of these dead straight pieces, which aren't as attractive. Okay, so the pieces are growing in around on one another there. There we have it. Now I know it's unconventional, but I've often said so am I, and I've got to look at this tree every day, not you guys, so don't give me too hard a time, but do let me know what you think. Are these branches a good idea? Oh, roots a good idea. I always think they look natural, and the more I do, the more I'm favouring a natural looking tree rather than a cookie cutter perfect bonsai. And so here I am, and here it is. Thank you so much for watching. Do the usual YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, please comment, let me know what you think. Most of all, please take care of yourselves. Be safe, everybody.